What's up, guys? Your boy, Mr. Vincent. Today, we're reacting to Anthony Mackie's comments on American masculinity, and that is dying. Amala, she's a pretty much like one of the younger up and coming. Like I wouldn't even say up and coming because she's pretty much here. She does different reports on a lot of different topics, and today we're gonna react to what she says. Listen to Anthony Mackie, and I'll give you guys my opinion on the situation. But again, if you like the video, hey man, like the video, comment down below if you like this type of content. We can continue to do it. Man, hit that subscribe button. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and let's get into it.
Captain America star Anthony Mackie is now going viral for speaking out about American masculinity and saying that it's been dying for the last 20 years. He says he's trying to keep masculinity alive in his sons by making them into men, which apparently is a horrible thing to say now. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
Guys, before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe. Yes, today we're talking about Anthony Mackie again. Last time we talked about him on our channel, I was not feeling him, okay? He was talking about being Captain America, and he said Captain America is not going to be a representation of America, that Captain America is about good qualities, and I guess America doesn't represent those good qualities, so neither should Captain America. Then I see other clips of Anthony Mackie where he's saying, I don't want my whole career to be about being black, and then he makes statements that make it about being black. So, you know, that's the duality of man. Sometimes you're right.
Those two different clips and two different time frames of his career. So I mean, hey, we get older, we get wiser, and we learn things. So I mean, I wouldn't hold that against him, honestly. Just my opinion.
Right. Sometimes you're wrong. We're going to see this clip of Anthony Mackie and his take on masculinity and see what we have to say. The internet has a lot to say. They're saying Anthony Mackie is raising his kids wrong, that he's toxically male, and that
there's no, they're not your kids at the end of the day. You can't say that he's raising his kids wrong. People, like, he's a parent. He can raise them technically how he wants to, as long as they're good, outstanding people.
He needs to shift gears because right now he's on the right-wing grift, apparently. Let's watch.
I keep my boys humble. Like, my boys have never had a pair of Jordans. You know, my boys don't do all that internet fly shit. I'm like your kids. And no, I don't give a. I could be the biggest star in the world. Do not let me catch you being stupid. Mm-hmm. Do not. And my oldest gets it. My 15-year-old, he tells the other ones, he's like, yo, don't make dad mad. Because once you get one that's right, he gonna straighten the other ones out. Mm-hmm. So it's just that thing of, in the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities, for one reason or another. But I raised my boys to be young men. And however you feel about that, you feel about that. Right. But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open a door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. They will always be men. And that's always since they were 2 years old. Every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you're the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night, this alarm is on, you text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up.
I love that.
Because we're men. If I'm not there to protect, he got to be there to protect. Because you can have all the money in the world, climb through the window, that money means nothing. Right. You can have all the celebrity in the world, jump through the door, that celebrity means nothing. Yeah. So you got to have a little guard in there, you know? And so for me, it's always that idea of American masculinity is very different.
Did y'all hear anything wrong there?
Hey, I was waiting for the wrong thing to pop out too. I mean, I feel like not most people, but I was raised very similar to that. Like I still say yes, ma'am, no, sir, all that stuff. I still take care of my mom. Like at the end of the day, if she ever needs something, she knows who to call. Like I don't see anything wrong with what he's saying because it's dope. Maybe I was raised that way. Maybe that's toxic, but like he didn't say anything crazy in that little That little conversation you just had.
What? Why is this even viral? I don't even understand. It's got over 25 million views on X alone, and of course it's going viral on other platforms, and people are calling him out and saying this is such a disgusting message to be teaching your children and your sons in particular, that there's no difference in the way that you raise the different sexes of kids, and that he's putting too much weight on his kids while also not buying them Jordans. I saw one tweet that said, wait, your kids are the men of the house, but they can't have a pair of Jordans. Oh my God.
We talking about Jordans and equating that to being the man of a house is insane, because that shit means nothing at the end of the day, honestly. Like, what? What does shoes have to do with you being the man of the house? And Jordans, I mean, at the end of the day, when you're kids, to me, I guess like this is how I was raised too. Like, I had Jordans every now and then when I was a kid, but when you're a kid, you grow so fast, especially if you're tall, like you grow so fast that you outgrow shoes like every 6 months, maybe every year. Like, so my parents at the end of the day, like when I was growing up, they're like, hey man, like we not finna keep wasting $200, $150 on these Jordans when you just gonna outgrow them in 6 months. And it's not like I had somebody else that wore my size shoe that I can give these shoes to. So it was like, we're wasting money on these shoes. And then what? We're just giving them to Joe Blow on the street. Like, so at the end of the day, that makes sense to me, not giving your kids Jordans, because at the end of the day, I appreciate that stuff more now as an adult because I can buy it. And I mean, I use my hard-earned money to get that stuff. So like, I can appreciate it a lot more now. Because as a kid, if you getting all this shit when you become an adult, like it's just like, oh, like it's like the people that get fucking Louis bags as kids, like, oh, it's just a Louis bag. Like, I mean, you didn't work for it. Like, it's just a fucking bag at the end of the day. But like when you work and earn that shit yourself, like it means a lot more. So I get where Anthony Mackie's coming from on that aspect of it.
Gosh, internet brain rot is very much real. I'm going to read some responses here so you guys can see what people are saying. This one says, damn, Captain America did so poorly at the box office, he's already shifting to the right-wing grift. It's apparently a right-wing grift that you should raise your boys to be men, raise them to be respectful, raise them to protect and provide in the way that they can. And I think what's really interesting, maybe a lot of people are going to have this quip that young boys shouldn't have the weight of the world placed on their shoulders as far as protection, security, and providing for the women in their lives, let's say in his case, the mothers. But what was interesting about the examples that he gave is I feel like he was scaling the responsibility of these children to their age. He said,
Yes.
for my 15-year-old boy, when I'm not at home, he's going to be the protector of the house. Now that doesn't mean he's a jujitsu fighter who's going to attack any assailant who walks in the home. He says, I tell him to lock the doors, to text me, when he goes to sleep, when he wakes up, and to just make sure that everything is secure while he's at the house and while he's with his mother. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Every 15-year-old should be capable of that. 100%. And that 15-year-old who has learned from his father is now taking those skills and utilizing them in teaching his younger siblings. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Let's read another response. It says, and this is why young black boys grow up with so much pressure to uphold these antiquated views of what masculinity looks like and end up lonely and depressed. It's okay to be a black man and just be yourself. You don't always have to be a man.
But like she said, he's not telling them to be a man. They're all still children at the end of the day, and he realizes that. So like that. So
now, I don't know that I heard anything that was particularly antiquated in what Anthony Mackie just had to say.
Exactly.
Maybe the taking care of the house and being a protector for the mother is.
I mean, if you dissect that and just stake on that point, then maybe. But at the end of the day, he literally didn't tell him to do anything else. It's not like he said, go get a job and provide for your mom and all this other stuff. Like, no, he just said to do normal things that make a house secure at the end of the day. So I don't necessarily understand the hoopla and the outrage on that one either.
Is what this person views to be antiquated, but there is a real biological reality that exists amongst men and women when they are compared, and men are stronger. So if you have a man or a boy or a teenager in the house, he's probably going to be stronger than any female around. And thus there is maybe a little bit of pressure that exists that you need to safeguard things and make sure things are secure and protected. And in the case of the 15-year-old, he just said, lock up the house.
That's literally what he said. He just said, lock up the house, make sure it's secure. Like, that shit you do anytime you walk in your house, bruh. Like, come on, bruh.
If that's too much pressure for you as a young boy, I don't know. Maybe we do have a masculinity problem. I don't think he
Maybe.
said anything about telling his boys not to have feelings or not to cry or not to express themselves. So that should help safeguard them from being lonely and depressed. And you can be a black man and be yourself. I don't think anything that Anthony Mackie just said had anything to do with a person's internal character or who they are as a person. Everybody accepts a certain amount of responsibility in this world, and he's chosen the responsibility for his kids and for his boys, and that is to become men, as we all naturally do. As a young girl, you are going to become a woman, and I hope that there's a woman in your life who gives you sets of values, responsibilities, and holds you accountable to those values and responsibilities, so that when you do inevitably become a woman, you have the skill set, the values, and the responsibilities to say that you truly are one. And that's really about it. And whether we like it or not, there is a difference in how we raise girls and how we raise boys. We have different bodies. We have different hormones. We have different cycles that we're going through on any given day. And you have to tailor how you deal with these two children to their sex. And that doesn't mean that there aren't certain things that we want to teach all children. In the case of what Anthony Mackie just said, I hope all children are respectful. I hope they're saying yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, and thank you to the people that they encounter that require that respect. But there's going to be different things for boys and girls. And I don't know why that can't just be said. Here's
and he doesn't have girls, so he has all boys, bro. He has fucking 4 boys.
another one. I'm not sure what he means by the death of the American male and killing masculinity. Children should be raised to be respectful and responsible regardless of gender. Empathy and critical thinking should always be fostered by parents. And where did he say it shouldn't? Where did he say
They're just making up
I
shit,
didn't hear
bro.
a single thing
They're literally making
about
up
that.
shit.
I just hate that we fail to acknowledge that men and women have different energies, and boys and girls have different energies, and they're going to take the things differently. And that's why it's important to have the feminine characteristics of a mother to influence children and the masculine characteristics of a father to influence children. And that doesn't mean that women can't have masculine traits and that men can't have feminine ones. It just means that typically we are tailored to certain frequencies and energies that should be fostered by our parents and by men and women. Next one, the death of American masculinity. He needed to expand on that, because what you mean? The acceptance of a group does not mean the obliteration of another. Nobody said that. And nobody said that, partner.
They just be making up shit just to be mad about on fucking X, bro. Like, that's literally how I feel about fucking social media, is people just make up shit to be mad about at the end of the day. Because he didn't say anything about that at all.
Since they want to use the little Drewski meme under it, I just don't know why this is the most upsetting thing in the world. He essentially said, I've got some boys. They're teaching each other to be men. I'm not buying them Jordans because I don't want them to be materialistic, even though daddy has money. And I teach them to lock up the house and text me before they go to bed. It's not that deep.
It's not deep at all.
And we should investigate what he means by the death of American masculinity, because the response to this, I think, exemplifies what he means by that. This idea that there is nothing that is uniquely masculine, that there is no masculine energy in men that needs to be fostered. And on a more extreme end of that, that there is a toxicity to masculinity that must be drawn out of men, that we must make them sort of docile and feminine in order for them to mold with our society and to coexist with women. And I'm going to point out the elephant in the room. Anthony Mackie happens to be a black man, in case you didn't notice. And while the US at large is dealing with the fatherlessness issue, the most deeply impacted racial group is black people and black kids. So the fact that he's a black father in the home, teaching his kids masculinity and fostering an environment where they can trust their father and they can respect their father and learn from their father, that's a very powerful and valuable thing that a lot of black kids don't get to grow up with. And I see a lot of comments saying that this is a ton of pressure to place on the shoulders of a child. And I gotta push back a little bit. I didn't hear anything that was particularly taxing in what he described. So unless you know there's more going on, I'm not sure what pressure you're talking about. I can see maybe a little bit placed on these kids to make sure they're doing the right thing and remaining responsible, but we do need a little bit of pressure in life, especially as children, in order to grow into adults. I didn't hear anything that extreme. It seems like the death of American masculinity is a very real thing, and I can't give an exact number of years that it's been going on, but let's run with his statement of 20 years. And if you look at the relationship between the two sexes right now, it doesn't seem like we're doing really good. Loneliness is up, birth rates are low, and just the general cultural conversations we're having surrounding sex and gender differences seem very heated and full of vitriol. There's a lot of hatred being thrown back and forth. There's misogyny and misandry and statements about all men or all women. And I think it would behoove us to maybe just think about our sex differences, lean into them in healthy ways that make us distinct from one another, but also foster good relationships and allow men to be men and women to be women, because we seem to have lost the plot on those ideas. So for this video on Anthony Mackie, I gotta give it a thumbs up. I agree with what he had to say. I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Drop them down. As always, if you disagree with anything I said in this video, do get out, but do so respectfully. I encourage healthy debate on this channel. And if you like this video, like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a video.
Now I'm curious to see what her comment section has to say about this. How dare he teach his children to be respectful men? Facts. He's teaching a 15-year-old boy responsibility, humility. What a monster. People say black fathers are the most absent in the child's life, but one time I hear a man teaching his kids, it's bad. Make it make sense. There's just no pleasing people. Good for him teaching his kid or raising his kids right. He's 100% correct. I mean, Chevrolet is antiquated and society is doomed. Like, it is. I don't see anything wrong with what Anthony Mackie said. I watched that podcast all the way through, and if you haven't, it's a very interesting take. His and Sterling Brown's on The Pivot. Their episodes are really good. Like, and I think that's just, I mean, I'm a black man, so like hearing other black men and how they came up in the industry and how they became who they are, it's very interesting to me. So I don't see why people are upset about this. I wouldn't be upset about this. It's kind of something very silly to be upset about. He didn't tell you how to raise your kids. He just told you how he raises his kids. And at the end of the day, you either can shut up or shut up, because you're not going to affect him and it's not going to change the way he's raising his kids. So again, man, if you like the video, comment down below your thoughts on the situation and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one, man. Peace and love.